Affordable housing isn't just a McPherson story, it's a Kansas story. From McPherson County to communities across the state, safe, stable homes are essential for thriving families. At the McPherson Housing Coalition, we're developing emergency shelters like the Oak Harbor Cottages and building permanent supportive homes through projects such as Sutherland Estates, creating housing that includes wraparound care and services. If you believe every Kansan deserves a place to call home, your support matters, whether you're in McPherson or miles away. Learn how you can help listeners and neighbors across Kansas by visiting McPhersonHousingCoalition.org.
Welcome to Housing for Good, a podcast dedicated to housing topics and issues affecting our communities in McPherson County and beyond. With years of experience and expertise, hosts Chris Goodson and Karolyn Moore discuss housing challenges and opportunities with other experts from a variety of housing fields.
Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of Housing for Good. I'm Karolyn.
And I'm Chris.
So this is odd because we never sit next to each other.
I know, it's weird. What are you doing over there?
Okay, so what do we have for news today, Chris?
Well, so I don't know if you remember last week or a couple weeks ago, we talked about what was going on in Wichita. And I was kind of excited because I thought, well, if this passes, it was a bill or some kind of a resolution to try to make landlords accountable for properties that are not in great shape. And so I was excited. I kind of didn't think it would go, and it didn't.
Yeah.
But I think the more we get the word out that this is happening in Kansas, there are landlords that are not keeping their properties up. They're not doing maintenance. They have violation after violation after violation. If anybody even says anything.
Unlike McPherson, where it is a single family home or maybe a duplex, that the landlord is a terrible landlord.
Yeah.
In Wichita and in Garden City and some of these places where complete housing developments have been shut down, we're talking big development, big.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So I was excited that it happened, but the vote did not go our way, so that's okay. Maybe somebody else will hear it and say, hey, maybe that's something we need to do at our city, or maybe that's something that needs to happen in Topeka, and it needs to be taken out of the local level. I don't know what it was, a resolution or whatever they were trying to do, but they were basically trying to make it so that landlords were being held accountable for having minimum property standards, which every place across the nation needs to have minimum property standards for when you rent a piece of property. That's how I see it. But anyway, so that's all the news I have. Okay. There's always lots of things going on in Topeka, and we did talk about that a little bit the last couple times. I don't know that we need to go over that this time, but
well, they're not in session right now, so there's just a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on. Yeah. But you know what?
What?
I'm really excited today because I get to work with Kayla on a regular basis. We see each other monthly at meetings and different times throughout the month. And so Kayla Knier with Kansas Homeless Coalition is joining us today. And Kansas Homeless Coalition is the organization that leads statewide efforts to prevent and end homelessness. So Kayla, introduce yourself to us. Tell us your position and kind of what your responsibilities are.
And I just want to say welcome. We're really excited to have you on this podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
My name is Kayla Knier. I'm the Director of Regional Coordination here at the Kansas Statewide Homeless Coalition, and we are also the Balance of State COC. So we serve 101 counties across Kansas, mostly rural.
Okay.
So what do you think is the most pressing issue facing Kansas right now when it comes to homelessness? What does that look like? Is it different for every community? Is it the same across the state? I mean, what are you seeing there?
It's a lot of the same, highlighted barriers across the entire state. It might look
Recording in progress.
Oh, it might look different from community to community. But I would say affordable housing, the funds for homeless services, assistance, things like that are something that we hear across the entire state. And I think especially now as we are hearing about new budgets and new funding requirements, it's getting pretty scary to try to navigate that when you think, am I going to have to rely solely on state or community funds to support my program and my community. And there's just not enough community funds, state funds, or, philanthropy that's going to fill that gap because we're already in a crisis.
Yeah, we are definitely we are definitely in a crisis right now, and it's pretty scary. I was just talking to the staff about that. So I know there's a group here in Kansas right now that's struggling because they have CSBG funds that they're not going to be receiving, and now they're trying to scramble and figure out what are we going to do. I mean, it's a huge organization. They have lots of staffing. They support a lot of people in their programs. And so I do think that organizations are going to have to look more on a business model where we say, okay, what income streams can we put together to make sure that if these funds disappear, what's our plan? We need to have those emergency plans in place because it's really scary right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And the challenges that we're seeing here, they're mirrored all over the state. Families working hard but still can't find safe, affordable housing. Agencies like us that are trying to provide services, that are trying to figure out where to get the funding when maybe what we've always counted on being there is not going to be there anymore. So that collaboration is very vital, having consistent communication between agencies and helps to ensure that nobody falls through the cracks.
So here's something I think a lot of our listeners don't even realize, that we have a statewide coordination effort that happens. And you meet, once a month? I don't go to those meetings, Karolyn does, but once a month you meet, and then you have different groups, like you have the South Central and maybe the North Central and all those different groups. What does that look like when you're coordinating and helping to help each other with different clients? And I don't really know what goes on there. I hate to even admit this, but I have all this other stuff going on in my brain. There's no space for this. But what does that look like for you to coordinate across the state and to try to together have one voice? I think that's really important as well, that we have one voice when we're here talking about different issues across the country even.
Yeah. So the Kansas-bound state COC, we're split up into 9 regions across 101 counties. There's other COCs that serve, Wichita, Johnson County, Wyandotte. We are the largest because we cover the largest geographic area. And we are lucky enough that we have regional coordinators that are positioned within those communities or nearby that host those collaborative monthly community meetings. Some meet more often than others to do the coordinated entry list. Those are the assessments that we complete with individuals and families that are experiencing homelessness. And we coordinate with other housing programs, funded and non-funded, to try to exit those people out of housing or out of homelessness as quickly as possible. It is a challenge coordinating statewide, but the biggest benefit that we have is we have that shared mission. Everybody is at the table to help their community. And no matter what differences we have or priorities that our specific community may have, we all come back to the same conclusion. What can we do to help our community and get people into stable, permanent housing?
So I just talked to a group, and this community does not have any ESG funds at all, and they're trying to figure out what to do. If there's a community of somebody living even across the nation, because I think COCs are nationwide, how would they get connected to you if they have an organization? They're saying, hey, we don't have any ESG funds. We definitely have a problem here. How could you talk to them or help them to figure that out?
So our membership is free and open to anybody. You don't have to even be an agency to join our COC. You can be just a regular member. But for an agency that's looking for funds to support their community, I would invite them to connect with their regional coordinator, go to our website, check out our calendar. We do hold monthly meetings where all of our members get together and we do updates, talk about some funding and, policies that are going on within the COC. But I would say their first contact should be a regional coordinator, somebody within their community or nearby that can help them kind of navigate who we are and what we do. We also have great staff here. So we have one person that's dedicated to COC programs. That's our COC program director, Shanae Egger. And she is creating this amazing technical assistance packet for, new agencies. And we're pretty well versed in other funding across the state. And so we're always happy to chat with somebody about what's available in your community, what's missing. And I think a big piece of that is having that data to tie into that need. So when you don't have those funds, you might not be collecting the right data to be able to support a grant application to say, this is how many people are experiencing homelessness in this community. These are the other subpopulations that we're looking to help. And we collect all that data. And we actually just published our statewide dashboard for our Built for Zero numbers. It's accessible to anybody on our website. You can see inflows and outflows to homelessness. But I think that first point of contact would definitely be the regional coordinators to get involved with us.
So how do they do that? Well, you have a phone number? Is there a website they can go to? What is that?
Yeah, so they can go to kshomeless.com and they can navigate to our regional page. We have a regular staff email that they can email all of us, and then we'll just designate that to the appropriate person, and that's staff@kshomeless.com. And we'll get them connected. If they let us know which community they're in, we'll get them connected with the appropriate person.
Okay, here's the other question. I'm hogging up the thing here, but this keeps popping up in my brain because I've been talking to a lot of people and they don't always understand how this all works. And once we get them plugged in, it's amazing. But we have listeners in Texas and California, all over the country. Would they, again, look for the COC in their state to be able to get plugged in if they're a nonprofit listening to this today? They follow us a little bit to hear about our tiny homes and what's going on and all those different things. So how would they do that if they lived in Texas, say?
Yeah, definitely. They would want to, do a quick search of their county and look for their COC. Each county is covered by a geographic region with their COC. So some are more urban. You might have a COC that covers one county, or you might have a balance of state, which is going to cover that larger geographic region. And so they would want to connect with whoever is covering their specific county.
Okay. Thank you. That's really helpful. Do you have a question?
Okay, yeah. So let's talk about prevention. So what strategies are being implemented to keep individuals and families from becoming homeless in the first place?
There's a lot of things going on for homeless prevention. And right now, I think a lot of our work is our policy work that we're doing with the Kansas Housing Advocacy Network, trying to make sure that people can stay in their homes and prevent, ending up on the streets or on an emergency shelter. A couple things that they're working on are, an eviction mitigation pathway so that tenants have some rights within the court system to try to mitigate before they're getting evicted, before they get that on their record. There's also ESG homeless prevention funds out there that are able to help. For the most part, that is the biggest gap that I see, that I hear from agencies across all of our regions, is that homeless prevention piece. Typically, the COC funded programs are for rapid rehousing or permanent supportive housing, and that's when you're literally homeless. So we are the crisis response system, but there's that big gap. And how do we prevent people from entering homelessness?
Then how do you measure the effectiveness of all the programs that everybody has across the state? How do you decide that this is working or not working, or are you even measuring that?
So we have system performance measures across our entire COC. And so we collect data on successful housing placements over, a period of time. 6 months, 12 months, did they find and stay in permanent housing, or did they enter back into our system, which means, they weren't successful. Maybe they were only housed for a short period of time. Something happened and they returned to homelessness. So we track all of that information and we kind of combine that when we're monitoring programs. We monitor their system performance, look at their policies, look at their successes, any issues that we see, and kind of talk about it collaboratively on, is there anything within our policies that is creating a barrier? Are we missing something? So we kind of help support that process together. But data is definitely the way that we measure, and that's our first indicator of whether we're doing well or not.
Okay. It's really great to hear that the data that we're gathering supports what we're seeing locally and across our country. When we invest in prevention, we save both money and lives. Community involvement plays such a big role in all of this. What role do you see community members, volunteers, and local churches playing in the success of your initiatives?
They are crucial in the success to our initiatives. I think a lot of people hear about the COC and all of our acronyms that we have can sound super scary. And they're like, holy cow, is this the meeting for me? It's intimidating. Like, what are they even talking about?
Yeah. We've heard that before, haven't we?
Yeah. Yes, we
here's a list of the acronyms that need to be passed out ahead of everything.
And that happens when you get into some of those bigger federal HUD funds and some systems that have been around for ages. We have a lingo and acronyms that can be intimidating. But I think one thing that has kind of opened up, our relationships and connections with the broader community is our Built for Zero initiative, and where we want everybody at the table that touches our homeless response system. And that is your volunteers, your city and local government, your health departments, religious organizations. You want them at the table because there's not one agency or program that's going to solve all of this. We need to be in this together. And the Built for Zero framework has really helped us to, kind of tie in what other people's roles are within the community and within the COCs to kind of like bridge that gap. So that's been really amazing to watch. The regional coordinators and the communities getting, the broader community at the table. It's been really awesome.
It's amazing what happens when a community comes together.
Yeah.
With the Oak Harbor Cottages shelter that we have would have never been made possible had we not had our community come together. It's $1 million shelter, and we had no federal or state funds included with that. People are like, you did what? Yeah, because our faith community, our business community, all of those people came together to volunteer, to give us supplies and all the things that we needed. It is incredible. It is really incredible when the community comes together. So would you say, are there any initiatives that you guys have coming up that people might want to know about, or something else? Maybe somebody listening in another state, for instance, maybe they're in Missouri or Florida. We have people from all over the place listening. I mean, what initiatives do you have coming up that might be of interest?
Well, right now, one in-person thing that I kind of want to give a shout out is we do an annual summit on homelessness and housing, which will be held in Manhattan, Kansas this year, April 23rd to the 24th, or 2026. Sorry, not this year, next year.
I know, I'm excited too, because it's way closer to us. It's only an hour and a half away, so I'm excited. Is that an hour and a half? It's about an hour and a half. So I'm excited because we can just pop up there.
And we're going to be there.
Yeah.
And we do have people that come from all across the state and from other states come to join our conference. So I believe ticket sales will go on sale in December, I believe.
Wow.
So we're really excited about that. Our whole goal is to bring our state and communities together so that when you're in person and you can problem solve together, hear what's working for others and what's not, that's where you're going to find the biggest growth. So we're really excited about that. And I would also just say to stay tuned on our Built for Zero efforts. We are in go time all the time with Built for Zero, and we're making huge strides every single day, across communities. So that's been very exciting. So I would definitely say stay up to date on that.
Kayla, what's the website? If somebody wants to go and they want to look for more information, what is Built for Zero? Who's going to be speaking at the summit? What can I expect? What do tickets cost? What is that website they go to?
So they'll go to kshomeless.com, and that's going to be your hub for everything. Under the statewide initiatives tab, you'll find our Built for Zero dashboard, and that's public. You can drill down into that and find all kinds of information. We also have a page for our 2026 summit. We're still accepting proposals right now, so you have until the 31st to submit a session. And so once we close sessions or the proposals, we'll go ahead and update what that agenda looks like and who our speakers are going to be. We will have Community Solutions, who has been guiding us with the Built for Zero initiative, speaking at our summit. So that is going to be really exciting.
So that Built for Zero, it's free unless you want to join the organization. I mean, there's a lot of I've been on there a couple times, and the information, there's a lot of free stuff on there that you can read about, right?
Yes, they are very transparent. I think the biggest goal here is no gatekeeping. If we're withholding information or best practices, we're hurting everybody. So there's no reason to have them if we're not sharing them. And Community Solutions does an amazing job with that. They have case studies from other communities, all the way from rural outreach to, challenges within urban areas on what they're seeing with like a gap in their street outreach. So they have case studies from communities, across the country. I believe at our last meeting, we had people from Alaska.
Wow.
We had, I can't remember, there was another country there too, and I can't remember who they were, but we were all doing the same thing. We were all working towards the same goal. And that sharing resources and learning is the only way that we're going to connect these dots and move forward.
So do you have any recent success stories or programs that have made a significant impact across the state?
I would say our Built for Zero definitely has. And I feel like I'm talking about that a lot, but it is the huge connector that we're seeing. And I think if you're familiar with COCs, you feel like it might be this club of funded agencies and nobody else is invited. And that's definitely not what it is. It's, a community planning effort. It looks a little bit different as a balanced estate. And so I think Built for Zero has really helped us open that up to the other stakeholders. One thing I do want to shout out that I'm really excited about is our Lived Experience Advisory Board. We're going on 2 years now since we developed it. And I have the same steady members from when we started 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And created our governance charter, decided what things we wanted to focus on. And we kind of built this together. They've helped me as much as I've helped them. And they've actually gotten to go on to national conferences and speak about their stories, their professional development, the things that they're doing within their communities across the state. So that's been really exciting. They will also be speaking at the summit. And I can't wait for their session because we just finalized it last night at our meeting. But
okay, now, do you remember Kayla was supposed to be with us a month or so ago, and she couldn't come. And so she gave us one of the lived experience advisors that's on the council.
Christine, yes.
Yes.
Man, her story was impactful. I was like, wow.
So
and it was kind of like my favorite show about this homelessness and domestic violence is The Maid. Have you seen that show? I think they do such an incredible job on that to let people understand how this, because people are like, what does the matter with you? You made bad decisions, blah, blah, blah. And it really highlighted the way that she became homeless and what her and her daughter were sleeping in a subway. I mean, it was a horrible story. But then when she came on telling her story, it was very similar in my mind to The Maid, a little bit similar.
Well, and Christine was very articulate in just her journey and the impact she's been able to have and also how the work she's doing now has impacted her thoughts about moving forward. So
so that was a great, thank you for allowing us to talk to her. It worked out perfect. I mean, not that we didn't want to talk to you, but it was good that we had a good alternative. So she did an incredible job. And I think it's important that we tell real stories to people so they can see what has happened and what is possible and how we move forward. And the more we can get those stories out that people can see the changes, it's incredible and it's very impactful to our people. Yeah. So, thank you for what you're doing.
It definitely is. And I feel like, and Christine's amazing. And I'm so glad she was able to, in such short notice, my fault, I'm so sorry,
it's okay.
come on and do that. But I think especially now with like the media and things and how some decisions are getting made, it's getting made as if we're not humanizing people anymore. We're not humanizing people who are experiencing homelessness. And we're not looking at them like this could be my neighbor. This could be, my child's teacher who's experiencing this. We're looking at it like a box and we're not changing our mind about it. And when you hear those stories of lived experience, you build that connection and empathy and real life of this happens. I may not look like where I was 10 years ago or 5 years ago. You're not going to see me in my crisis, but I hope you see me now and that I can share that experience with you and help you make an empathetic decision that affects real people.
Yeah. And when I think our legislators see those real stories and the change that it made because somebody helped them and now they've moved forward, and now they're paying back, and now they're working, and now they're doing really well. That's the stories that have to get out to our legislators so they can see, regardless of what happened before, we can move these people forward, and now they have a life, they're giving back, and it's an incredible transformation. And that's just so important in my mind, is just let people see that, you know, you can go from homelessness. Maybe now they're working in a factory, or now maybe they're a college professor. You just don't know. And we gave that person that opportunity to move forward just by offering a little bit of assistance. It seems like lately we've had a lot of people thanking us. You know, you do this work, it's a little thankless sometimes, and then all of a sudden somebody will come on and say, do you know you changed my life? And then you want to cry and it's all emotional, but then you see how the change in their life, like Edgar, and you know, that was such a powerful interview. But he had to sleep in a park because his wife was literally dying in a nursing home, and he had nowhere to go. He had lost everything, and he said he's never been so afraid. This is a guy that's always had a job. He found some whatever happened. I don't remember the whole story, but he was sleeping in a park. This regular guy. It wasn't anybody, you know, he wasn't a drug guy, or not that matters, but just a regular older guy that found himself in the position he had to sleep in our park. It was horrible.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's so easy, like Kayla said, we look at people and we want to put them in this box. But that one episode of homelessness is not who that person is.
No, not at all.
It's what has happened to them, something they're having to overcome and work through. And so, the whole person is what we want to address. So,
and we don't look at people either. That was the one thing that I've been following a lot of people, and they said that people will not look me in the eye. They look away. They pretend like they don't see me. How dehumanizing is that for someone not to look at you and to see, like they look past you? We were kind of taught that way growing up. My family used to go to Mexico all the time, and there'd be people in poverty, homeless, lining the way into Tijuana, was where we always went. And my dad would say, look away, don't look. They're just scam artists or whatever. Well, I don't know what was the story, but we were taught that growing up. Because there wasn't as many homeless people when I was growing up. And you were growing up, and Joy was growing up. There wasn't as many people back in the olden days, right?
Yeah.
So you definitely had an opinion, but that's not the case now.
Yeah. So Kayla, before we wrap up, are there any things that we have not touched on that you would really like to get the word out about for the work that you do, the work that Kansas Homeless is doing, the COC, anything we haven't touched on yet?
What if you had $1 million? What would you do with that?
Oh, man. If I had $1 million, well, first of all, I'd have to double, triple it, and whatever I needed to do. But I would make sure that, you know, we had some solid assistance for our service providers, because I feel like right now, nonprofits, service providers, food banks, you know, we are addressing a crisis. They don't get enough credit for the hard work. Those workers can also be one paycheck away from homelessness. So I think it's really important to support them and the work that they're doing for our community, and thank them for that, because it, you know, like you said, it can be a thankless job at times. And I think especially now it can feel like that. But I just want to uplift the agencies that do the work, the volunteers that step up and come help. I appreciate all of them. And I think we covered most everything. I really want to invite people to get to know our COC, and, you know, it doesn't have to be anything formal. Shoot us an email and chat with us, come to our regional meetings and help us plan together. The best way we can make a dent or solve anything is through collaboration. That is the only way.
Well, and I would just add to that if there is an agency in your town or in your area that is working to address homelessness, they're going to know who to put you in contact with. Yeah. So that you can go to the website. You can reach out to them, kansashomeless.com.
Okay.
You can reach out to them. You can reach out to any agency that is helping with addressing homelessness, and they're going to be able to point you in that direction. And like Kayla said, we need every voice at the table.
Yeah. Well, this was a great interview, Karolyn.
Yeah, it was.
Thank you.
I knew it would be.
Thank you for coming on and talking to us about everything that you're doing. I'm hoping it encourages the listeners out there to get involved with your COC. Go look it up on your website. Go look it up.
Yeah.
Google it or whatever and find out what's going on in your state. I don't know what happens internationally. If we have international groups, maybe we do. I don't know about them, but I mean, maybe internationally there might be some groups, but get involved. Help with what's going on in your community, whether you are working with the homeless or whether it's somebody with hunger or whether it's a diaper ministry or whatever it is. Get involved in your community. Be part of the solution. We need to start working together like the COC is. It's so much more powerful. I mean, it's so much more powerful. So thank you so much for all the work you do. We appreciate you so much.
Thank you, guys. I'm so happy I got to be on here today.
Yeah, me too.
So that's going to end this episode of Housing for Good. If you would be interested or you know somebody who would be interested in being on our podcast, drop us a line, leave us a review, tell us how we're doing, and you can do that at housingforgood@mcphersonhc.org. Thank you for listening
and have a great day.